Welcome back to the program. Let's bring in Jerome Laxale, the Labor member for Bennelong and the Liberal member for Casey, Aaron Violi. Gentlemen, one really story today, one big story. It's been sort of emerging yesterday, of course, Jerome, with the news out of the United States, the president with his statement from the East Room at the White House confirming the successful strike on Iran, and the government today emphatic, wasn't it, from the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister, their support for this mission, Jerome?
Yeah, look, I was at home yesterday morning and saw the news break and had a chat at all about it with my family. The government issued a statement yesterday, and we had the Foreign Minister out this morning and the Prime Minister out during the day. We've long said that Iran should not have nuclear weapons capability. The US took unilateral action yesterday and to stop that progress, and that's something that we support as a country. Iran should not have nuclear weapons, and hopefully the US's action will result in that.
Aaron Violi, do you welcome the bipartisanship on this front?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know the coalition, we were out yesterday saying the same thing, and it is a bit surprising that it took the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister almost 24 hours to address the nation. Jerome's right, many people, myself included. I was actually at my daughter's first communion when the news came through, and it's something people were talking about yesterday. So it's a surprise it took the Prime Minister 24 hours to stand up in front of the media and answer questions. But obviously, an Iranian Islamic Republic regime with access to nuclear weapons is not in anyone's interest. So it is a positive that it looks like that ambition has been thwarted.
When we discuss international law, and there have been some critics saying that this is a breach of the UN Charter and so on, Jerome, isn't it important to also remember the fact that Iran has been a state sponsor of terrorism for many, many years? If you're going to talk about international law, that has to be part of the equation, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, it's been quite a few years under the IRGC. Of course, we would have seen we had a lot of Iranian Australians reach out to MPs like myself and Aaron and Keith Wallahan down in Menzies. This is a pretty brutal regime, one that has sponsored terrorism in the past. The US took unilateral action to deal with the nuclear threat there, and our focus should be as a country twofold. One, encourage de-escalation, encourage diplomacy and dialogue so that this doesn't break out into an all-out war. But two, there's like 2,900 Australians stuck in Iran. We should be doing everything we can, and that should be our focus over coming weeks and months, is to get them home safely, reunite with their family. I've got many Iranian Australians in Bennelong that are really petrified. I've got Jewish Australians, about 1,300 Jewish Australians have registered to leave Israel as well. This is pretty scary stuff at the moment, and we've got cultural links to these countries through our very diverse communities, and we need to do what we can to get them out safely.
Indeed, and Andrew Hastie was speaking earlier in the day. He also was suggesting that it's not necessarily surprised that Australia hadn't been brought in and briefed before the strike happened, that there were many in Washington that weren't in the loop, and that it was a different set of circumstances with the British for a range of operational reasons and otherwise. Aaron, is that a fair point?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I mean, it seems, looking at the media commentary afterwards, obviously, I'm not going to profess to be a military expert, but it was quite a sophisticated operation. And obviously there was decoys with the B-20 bombers. So it looks like the surprise was an important part for the US that they went down that path. So it makes sense that they wouldn't bring too many allies or other countries into their planning, given the importance of that. So that makes sense. As I said, what happens now is important. I mean, one question that is Jerome is right. Obviously, there are a lot of people in Iran and Israel that we need to get home, and there's a lot of residents that have got families and loved ones in my community, in Bennelong, and many other communities we need to support. But there is also, clearly, and it's not for today, but in the weeks to come, the economic implications of this for the country will be profound. So there's a role the Treasurer and the Prime Minister have to play in providing updates, but also what support are they going to provide to the Australian people. But that's not a conversation for today, but it's something we will all have to turn our mind to, because there are deep national security implications and deep economic implications of what's happened, not just over the weekend, but in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, indeed. And Jerome, if we do look briefly at some of the domestic news, we've got Susan Lee at the Press Club on Wednesday, Jim Chalmers at the Press Club last week, Jerome, opening the door to potentially significant tax reform. It brings some risk with it, but certainly most economists would agree it's needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think one of the commentary's biggest criticism of the former government were they weren't bold enough and they didn't go too far. I obviously would respectfully disagree with that for a number of reasons, but maybe they'll get what they asked for in this term. Jim Chalmers took a pretty important step at the Press Club last week, saying that through a lens of having better productivity in our economy, you cannot do that without having a good look at tax reform. I think that's a positive thing. We start with the roundtable in August, but every idea is on the table, and I think we should have a mature and open discussion and debate about this and see how far we can go to making our tax system fairer and having a tax system that works for budget sustainability over the long term.
Yeah, indeed, Aaron. I think that's a message that many would welcome. We've heard discussion about this in recent years, but government's balking before undertaking any substantial reform. Do you welcome this by the Treasurer?
Well, absolutely. As someone that spoke about the need for tax and federation reform in my first speech, and on your program, as you know, Kieran, for the last 3 years, talked about the importance of economic reform. And when we're talking about dealing with the cause, not the symptoms of the cost of living crisis, that's productivity and making sure that Australians can earn more and keep more, and that's through the system working more efficiently. So we welcome the discussion. We will engage constructively with the Prime Minister and the Treasurer to see what they put forward at the roundtable and how we go moving forward. Although I would note, Jerome, it wasn't just commentators that said the last Parliament of the Albanese government didn't have much economic reform. Your friend and colleague, the member for Chifley, Ed Husick, described the agenda economically as timid himself. So we didn't see a lot last term. We've seen words. At least this government have acknowledged that they need to do something. We'll watch with interest the actions of the Prime Minister and the Treasurer, but we're there to support them if it makes sense and it's in the national interest.
Nice to at least have one dig there. It was all a bit too nice today, Jerome.
It wasn't too nice. I had to get one
dig in there on the way out.
Kieran, I did notice you did say earn more and keep more of what you earn, which is a great line, I think. You may have heard me and a few of our Labor colleagues say that. It's definitely what we've been trying to do over our term of government, and you'll see more of that this term. It's an exciting time. I'm really excited to contribute. Imitation
is the best form of flattery, I think they say.
Real wages went backwards the whole of last term.
Another one. Good on you. Aaron, thanks. Jerome Laxale, appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Authorised by Jerome Laxale, ALP 32 Beecroft Road, Epping, New South Wales 2121.